Hey folks, welcome to Kayak DIY. Here, myself and my father head off to iCAST, where we're going to be filming the latest products in paddle sports and fishing. Check it out. Hey folks, Kayak DIY here, and right now I'm standing in front of the Nucanoe booth at iCAST 2018. I am with Everett, and we're going to end up going over some of the other kayak lineups that they have, different products, accessories. You guys might recognize some of these kayaks. I did do some videos. You'll be able to find those videos up in the top right-hand corner. But some of these features are new, so stay tuned here. We're going to talk about them now.
Hey man, I appreciate it, Justin. So yeah, last year we talked to you guys a little bit about our newest model, which was the Flint. Last year it was a prototype, and generally speaking, the Flint has remained the same from last year to this year. The only thing that's different is obviously the finish that you guys saw last year, since it was just a prototype, was real shiny and kind of different. This is our really durable traditional plastic that we use in all of our boats. It also has a nicer kind of flat finish to it, or color. But the color schemes themselves have changed a lot too, just in the 2018 season. Some things you'll notice that have remained the same. We had a fixed bow handle, which was a new thing for us last year. We've actually adopted this to our other boats as well. So you'll find that same rigid bow handle on both the Frontier models and also the Pursuit. It still has these rod tip protectors that we had in the boat last year. The rod tip protectors are basically designed to guide a rod tip into place and allow you to store the rod beside your seat. There's one on each side. You'll notice down here in the deck of the boat, there's also a hog trough recessed holder there. The whole point behind this, and just kind of a brainchild that I had when we were sitting there talking about it, was what's the best way for me to store a hog trough out of the way but get to it quickly if I'm fishing in a tournament. And the beauty of this is you can still store tackle on top of it, or have something like this drive system that you see behind. And even that has, you know, a pretty inclusive way to fit in there and not fall out. I actually transport my boat with it in there all the time, and it doesn't fall out, which is great. As we move back, you'll see gear tracks and stuff have remained pretty much the same from last year. We changed the scupper configuration a little bit, but there's still 8 scuppers. This boat bails like a boss. It is the best bailing kayak on the market. I would put that up against anybody. With 8 scuppers, it bails quickly. There are other boats that have 8 scuppers, but none of them have the grooves that we have. So it allows the boat to channel out quickly and give you a dry, clean platform. One of the things that I love about that personally is if I'm wearing pants and it's cold, I don't get wet. So there's huge advantage to that, even though it's a small, compact boat. The boat still remained extremely light. We weren't sure what it was going to be last year at iCAST. It came out right at 69 pounds. We're advertising it, I think, at 70. That's without the seat, but with the handles, you know, it's very, very easy to transport. If you guys want to move back, we'll show you a little more about that. The rigid handles also double as a paddle keeper. That was something we showed you guys last year. We were really excited about, and the response has been huge. Mainly because car topping it, putting it over your head to carry it down trails and stuff like that, it really is an ideal way to carry the boat. Sometimes you even just carry it kind of like a briefcase. If you look up here at the seat, the mesh is actually a little improved from last year. We're not going to get into a ton of details about that yet because we're so excited about it. We almost, you know, kind of want to let things simmer a little bit. But you guys will see over the next couple months that this seat mesh is going to be great. People are going to love it. But the big news is we finally have a pedal drive out for this kayak. We've had the H2O Pro Ped adopted into what we called the Pro Drive, which was basically Nucanoe's version of a Pro Drive, or H2O Pro Ped. This is yet another rendition that is really proprietary completely to us, and it's called the Pivot Drive. This is something that our designer has been working on for probably about 9 months, and it was basically dual purpose. So the goal was to have one drive that would fit on 3 different boats, and as you can see from the deck position on the Pursuit, the deck position on the Frontier, and the deck position on the Flint, we needed one drive that was very adjustable. And that's where we came up with the Pivot Drive. So, as you can see, kicking the drive out of the way obviously opens up the deck a lot, but it also allows us to move it over to a boat like the Frontier and give you a lot more height adjustment, because as you pivot it forward to back, your height changes a lot too. So this is something we're super excited about for this upcoming season, not just for the Flint. Obviously, we're very excited about that, but just allowing the other models to kind of cross-translate really well. And the base that we've kind of created for this boat is just one of several different designs we've kind of been working out for each of the boats as well. Improved performance, but also improving just the looks of it.
Yeah.
As far as other features on the boat, pretty much everything that you see here is the same from last year. We have changed this handle just to be a little more user-friendly.
The handle's used for?
That's for steering. Yeah, so if you want to give that a waggle there for me, you'll see it adjusts back here at the back, give me a good turning radius. And this entire assembly for the actual reverse locking mechanism, etc., is improved too. I'll just kind of stand down here, and if you want to move the camera over closer, we'll give you guys kind of a close-up of how that works. So the pivot drive, obviously the term pivot was based off of the adjustability of the drive itself. But the cool thing about the pivot concept is that even applies to the pivoting of the turn. And as you can see, there is a lot of turning radius in this system. Since the drive is attached to the turning radius as well, it allows the boat to actually turn in place, which is something you don't get from kayaks that have the drive in the middle. You have to actually generate force, then turn in those kayaks. In this kayak, you can generate force and turn, which is very different, obviously. Kind of a unique thing that we're able to offer. As far as reverse, as you can see, it's completely locked out right now. There's no tension on the locking mechanism. Last year we had a pin that allowed it to lock out the reverse. That pin would bend sometimes even break, so it really wasn't efficient at all or reliable. This year we've gone to this really good latch system. As you can see, this is really heavy grade steel that allows it to latch in place, and it's controlled by that same pulley cable that we've used from the beginning. Works really well. So basically, in lockout mode with no tension, I have reverse. With just a little bit of tension, it allows it to break away if you were to hit like a stump or a rock or something like that, and it requires virtually no tension at all. There's a cleat up front that allows you to keep that tension on it, and then you can just remove the tension and it locks in place. Really good system. As you can see, it even looks a little bit better than it did last year, and the functionality and efficiency is just a lot better. We'll step over here and show you guys a little bit about the Pursuit too.
So what I can tell you guys is I actually had this thing out on the water yesterday, the ProNav. I believe it was on the Pursuit model. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And now Everett's going to talk to us a little bit about the integration of this system in the Frontier and Pursuit and possibly other future models.
Yeah, so we don't have a bow mount for the Flint yet. That's something that we would love to have. I'm still hoping one of these motor companies will drop a transom mount that works with like a remote. But in the meantime, I will say having something like the Power Drive or the Motor Guide XI5, for example, these are great features for people who want to fish big water and have spot lock. I use the Motor Guide XI5 a lot myself. We have a lot of team members that use Minn Kota. But being able to go to your destination hands-free, which is really how a lot of these systems work, with either a pedal or with a remote. My system has a remote. A lot of these do have remotes. The Co-Pilot, iPilot system is really good as well. But for the Minn Kota products, we have this new company we've been working with for about a year and a half called ProNav that's done an incredible job of auto-navigating these systems. So if you have a remote steer or even, in some cases, pedal steer system that you can integrate electronics into, this will allow you to use your cell phone or other device to set up your navigation, pre-route your trip basically for the day, and then completely auto-navigate. Huge advantage for something like lake fishing. Let's say you're on St. Clair, you got a smallie school, you maybe could lose track of where you're at really easily. Use your auto-navigation to spot lock you in place. And ProNav's just done a really good job of not only doing that, but making it actually fairly affordable. You'll probably notice some of the pricing on these is starting to come down a little bit and become a little more affordable. So that's opening the door for people to include navigation systems like ProNav, which is really exciting for people who use electronics and fish big water.
Yeah, so he mentioned the wireless remote system. I had one on my neck yesterday. I was using the system, and I hadn't ever used one before at all. But it was very intuitive, easy to use. I had a really cool feature and I don't know the terminology of it, but there was a center little green button and I hit it. And when I moved my arm, it was like a Wii controller, and all of a sudden the motor's turning, and it felt like it was going exactly where I wanted it to go. So I'm going like this, and all of a sudden I'm going that way. I'm going like this, and then I'm going that way. And it was very cool. And when I was even coming up to the dock, I felt like it kind of made it pretty easy to be able to kind of park up along the dock. So cool things happening at Nucanoe, and you guys are going to have to keep an eye out on them. Thank Everett here. Give him a thumbs up in this video. And I'll have a link in the video description below.